It's a new product overview video for the 6-48162 American Flyer Legacy Texas Special Alco AA set. When you open the package, you will find the instruction manual for the AA set, the scale KD coupler mounting plates for both the trailing A unit as well as the powered A unit, 4 replacement traction tires, smoke fluid pipette, and a smoke fluid funnel. This set of Alco AAs features a powered A unit with American Flyer Legacy control, Flyer Legacy speed control, Legacy rail sounds, has a fan driven smoke unit, a directional front light, and an interior cab light. The non-powered A unit is just that. It is a non-powered A unit with no motors. It does have a front light that will stay on at all times, and there is an on-off switch should you choose to take and make the rear or make the nose light stay off. The American Flyer Legacy Texas Special Alco AA set has one powered A unit with 2 motors. Before we get this locomotive on the track, we need to point a few things out to you. First are the switches on the underside of the locomotive. We have the program run switch. In the program position is where you place the switch to assign the ID number to the locomotive. The run position is where you place the switch to operate the locomotive with Legacy. If you're a conventional operator, program will be used as the E-unit lockout switch, and run will be used to turn the E-unit on to allow you to achieve all 3 directional states. The next switch that we have is the smoke on, smoke off switch. In the no SMK position, the smoke unit is turned off. In the SMK position, smoke unit is enabled or turned on. We also have a volume potentiometer here that allows you to adjust the overall volume of the sounds of this locomotive. Now before we get to running, we need to make sure that we oil the axles on our locomotive. Using an oil applicator with a needle, we're simply going to place a small drop of oil on each axle between the gear and the truck blocks. We want to repeat this process on the opposite side of the truck. Just a small drop of oil is all that's necessary, and you can work that in with your finger by rotating the truck. At Lionel, we recommend you do not apply any grease or oil or lubricant to the gears on the outside of the truck. This will simply allow the truck to pick up debris around the layout, which will oftentimes get caught up in the gear and affect the operation. You want to make sure you add oil to both trucks and all 3 axles on each truck. The non-powered A unit should also have its axles lubricated as well. So using the same oil applicator, we're just going to place a small drop of oil on each axle where it goes through the truck block. And repeat the process for the other side of the truck. You can work that in with your finger. It is important to note that the non-powered A unit features a on-off switch for the lights. In the on position, the front headlight will be on all the time. In the off position, only the front headlight will be off. This is a non-powered A unit, meaning it has no motors, no smoke unit, no directional lighting. It does have a headlight, but it stays on all the time. Because our Flyer PAs no longer come with an orange memory module, we're going to need to enter this data manually. It's a very simple process. But before we do that, we need to tell the cab exactly what we're going to call these locomotives. Since the cab number is 153, using our numbering convention of the last 2 digits of the cab number, we'll call it engine 53. So on the remote, we press engine 53. Now we have to go in and enter the data manually that would have otherwise been included in the orange module. As I mentioned before, this is very easy. We press the info key in the upper right hand corner to enter the engine menu. At this point we can assign the name if we choose. Let's go ahead and take a moment and run through this. We press the name button, and using the red thumb wheel, we can scroll over to T, press add. We'll put a period there. We'll go back to S. We'll put a period there. We're simply pressing the button below add. We want a space, so we'll scroll over to the blank space, press add, scroll over to P, add, over to A, add, back to the space, A. Well, it didn't take, so we press the back arrow key, scroll over to A, and press add again. Now we scroll over to the space, because that's all we want on the top of our screen, and we press the button for next. At this point we need to enter the road number of the locomotive. So using the numbers on the touchpad, we simply press 153, and then we hit set. Now the name and the road number are set. Next we have to choose our type. So we press the scroll button in the upper left-hand corner. This takes us to type. Because this is a flyer locomotive with legacy, we want to choose Flyer Pull-More Diesel, FPD. So we'll press the button under FPD. It tells us it's a Flyer Pull-More Diesel. Press the scroll button again. This will take us to the control screen. We want to press the button under leg so that we see legacy mode displayed on the top. Pressing scroll one more time will tell us the sounds are set to legacy rail sounds. At this point, all of that data that was normally on that orange memory module has been entered manually. To exit the engine menu, we simply press the info key one time. If you'll notice, the cab number appeared momentarily, 153, and across the top of our screen we have TS PAAA. You can make this naming convention whatever you want it to be. However, you do have to remember that you are limited to only 31 characters at the top of that screen. At this point, let's go ahead and take a look at the icons on the touchpad. We have volume up, crew talk, RPMs up, volume down. The black circle is shut down. If we turn the throttle, get the throttle moving, that circle changes into a triangle, which is the emergency stop. By turning the locomotive down to a stop, that black circle reappears, which again is shut down. RPMs down, we have tower comm, smoke off, smoke on. If you'll watch the top of the screen when I press the smoke on key, we have 3 levels of smoke, low, medium, and high, because we're in legacy control mode. The on-off buttons do not apply to the Alco PAs. However, the Rule 17 lighting does. Rule 17 is Rule 17 lighting on, and off 17 is Rule 17 lighting off. And all that simply means is when the locomotive is at idle, the front headlight will dim when Rule 17 lighting is enabled, and will get brighter when the locomotive begins moving. When Rule 17 lighting is off, the light will stay the same intensity regardless of whether it's stopped or moving. Finally, on this menu we have the R button, which is engine reset. That will set the locomotive to be poised, ready to go in the forward direction at 0 volts, sitting at idle. If we press the speed bar, we see that we have our 6 preset railroad speeds, the tower comm button, smoke off, smoke on. We have a bar graph that is directly representative of the effects buttons up and effects down. As I press effects up, you'll see labor increase at the top of the screen, as well as the bar graph raising. Effects down, that bar graph lowers, and it says labor decrease. That is simply the amount of effort that comes through the sound system when the locomotive is underway. By increasing the effects or increasing the labor, the locomotive will really struggle or sound as though it's really struggling to get a load underway. And the number 1 button is roll speed. That's the very first speed step the locomotive will attain and stay at a constant speed. To exit this screen, we simply press the aux 1 key, to get back to the engine menu. Anytime we press engine 53, the cab number will appear momentarily and we're ready to operate the locomotive. Before we actually begin operating our Alco A unit, we need to do two things. The first thing is we need to assign the ID number that the locomotive will respond to. Since we've already set engine 53 in our legacy remote as the Texas Special Alco A unit, we need to tell the locomotive that it will now be addressed as engine 53. To do this, we take the locomotive off the track and we place the program run switch in the program position. Place the locomotive back on the track. Apply track power, and using our legacy remote, we'll press engine 53 and set. The horn confirms the locomotive took the address, so we can turn the track power off, remove the locomotive, place the program run switch in the run position, and then place it back on the track again. The locomotive will retain this number until we change it again in the future. Now, the second thing we need to do is that we need to put some smoke fluid into our locomotive. To do this, we're going to use the 6-37841 Lionel Premium Smoke Fluid. Using our funnel, we're going to place that in the top of our locomotive. We're going to take our pipette and we're going to fill it up with smoke fluid. And we want about halfway between the tip and the first line in the pipette. Put that smoke right in the funnel, a couple puffs of air to make sure we don't have a film on the top of our smoke unit that prevents the smoke from coming out. We can go ahead and turn the power on, and now we can operate the locomotive. Now you'll notice when power is first applied, there are no lights on the locomotive whatsoever. This is normal. It's not until you address the locomotive that the lights come on and the sounds come up. So by pressing engine 53 on our cab 2, we're going to press the power button, which is in the lower left-hand corner of the touchpad. And we're going to hold it so we get the dialogue that goes along with it.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy? Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Over. Very good. Start up and hold. Roger that. Start up and hold. Out.
We can go ahead and turn the smoke unit on. Low, medium, and then to the high setting. It's not uncommon for it to take a few seconds for the smoke to heat up and start producing smoke. We go ahead and turn the throttle. This will get the locomotive moving. You will notice that the volume of smoke coming out of the exhaust stack is a little bit more when the locomotive is moving versus when it sits at idle. Go ahead and play the horn for you. The bell. Tower comm.
Dispatcher here. All clear inbound. Over. Thank you, sir. Clear inbound. Out.
Crew talk.
Dispatcher, we still all clear? Over. That's affirmative. You have a clear track. Over. Thank you, sir. We're on schedule. Out.
Now as you slow the locomotive down and eventually stop, you'll notice that the cab light comes back on. The cab light is only on when the locomotive is at idle. The powered A unit is equipped with a front and a rear electrocoupler. So by pressing F on the remote, the front coupler will open and R will open the rear electrocoupler. The non-powered A unit is equipped with two manual couplers or magnetic couplers that are not controlled from the remote. So if you plan to operate the AA in a lash up, or as an AA unit, we strongly recommend that you put the non-powered A unit in the front so that you have coil coupler functionality on the nose of the trailing powered A unit. This locomotive is also equipped with 2 volume controls. One volume control, which changes the background sounds, lowers them, but leaves the horn and bell volume alone. To access that, you simply press aux 1 or the straight arrow key on the remote and the volume down icon on the touchpad. And we can take the prime mover sounds all the way to 0, but still have full control of the horn and the bell. Now let's go ahead and bring the prime mover sounds back by pressing the aux 1 or straight arrow key and the volume up icon. The other volume control you have is the global volume control, which will lower the sound of the prime mover as well as the horn and the bell. That's accessed by blowing the horn 1 time and pressing the volume down icon. That bell that you hear in the background is the volume going all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and hit the horn now, which you can't hear it. There's also no prime mover sounds either. So by blowing the horn quickly and holding the volume up icon, I can bring all sounds back to full volume. The American Flyer Texas Special Legacy Alco PA is also equipped with what's known as sequence control. Sequence control basically plays sounds based on throttle responses. To enter into sequence control, you simply press and hold the aux 1 or straight arrow key for 3 or more seconds, and you're told that you enter sequence control when you hear 2 bells and a horn blast. So I'm going to go ahead and press aux 1 now. We've now entered sequence control. So now when I go to speed step 1, the locomotive will not actually begin moving. All of these sounds are happening automatically because I went to speed step 1. Now when I go to speed step 2, the locomotive will begin moving, the cab light will go off, and a few more sounds will play. The bell will stay on until we crest speed step 32. Until we get to speed step 32, that bell will stay on. However, if it's annoying or you don't like it, you can simply turn it off by pressing the bell icon on the remote, and you can turn the bell off. We'll do that now. You still have manual control over the locomotive as it's running in sequence control, such as I can blow the horn at any time I want. But the locomotive will also trigger these sounds based on throttle responses. So I'm going to make a big adjustment to speed right now. Now I'm going to go ahead and make a big adjustment to speed going down. As I slow the train down and we get to speed step 32 now, my bell will come on at speed step 31 and it will stay on until we slow down and stop.
Dispatcher, I'm stopped. I'll let you know when we're rolling. Out.
Now to exit sequence control, we simply press the aux 1 or straight arrow key and then press the 0 or the reset icon on the touchpad. That horn blast tells us that we've left sequence control. Now, We can also add fuel to this locomotive by pressing and holding that reset icon on the touchpad. That sound of fuel going into the tank will stay as long as you hold that reset icon. And when you let off, you'll get this dialogue.
Fuel's full. Over. Roger that. Out.
And finally, we'll go ahead and go through the shutdown sequence by pressing the black circle in the center of our touchpad, and we get this dialogue.
Signing out, dispatcher. See you tomorrow. Out.
Now you'll notice when we go through the shutdown sequence, both the cab light and the headlight, as well as the smoke and the sounds, turn completely off. And they will remain completely off until we address the locomotive again with the remote by pressing engine 5-3, and then by pressing that power button in the lower left-hand corner of our touchpad. And the locomotive will come back to life, bring back the headlight, the cab light, and the sounds, as well as the smoke.